On the morning of August 24th, in the year 79 AD, the Roman city of Pompeii woke beneath a calm Mediterranean sky, unaware that it was living its final day. The city rested quietly at the foot of Mount Vesuvius, a mountain so familiar that it no longer inspired fear. For generations, it had shaped the land, the soil, and the prosperity of the region. Its fertile volcanic earth supported vineyards, olive groves, and farms, sustaining both the city and its economy. Vesuvius was not seen as a threat. It was simply part of everyday life. Pompeii was a thriving Roman city, home to around 11,000 people. Its streets were alive with movement and sound. Merchants opened their shops along stone roads polished smooth by years of foot traffic. Bakers prepared bread in clay ovens. Public baths filled with steam and conversation. Children played in courtyards, while politicians debated in forums and temples echoed with ritual. The city reflected Rome itself, organized, hierarchical, and confident in its permanence. Yet beneath this sense of normalcy, the earth was restless. For days, perhaps weeks, subtle tremors had shaken the region. But earthquakes were common in Campania, and most residents paid them little attention. Few understood that Mount Vesuvius was not just a mountain, but a volcano, one whose earlier eruptions lay far beyond living memory. To the people of Pompeii, history had gone silent, and that silence felt like safety. Shortly after midday, the illusion of stability shattered. Without warning, a violent explosion tore open the summit of Mount Vesuvius. A colossal column of ash, gas, and pulverized rock blasted into the sky, rising more than 20 kilometers high. Ancient observers would later describe it as resembling a giant pine tree, with a tall trunk and a spreading crown. From miles away, the eruption was visible, dominating the horizon. At first, many in Pompeii watched in confusion rather than fear. Some felt curiosity. Others were uneasy but uncertain. Volcanic eruptions were not part of their everyday experience. The initial fall of ash was light, drifting slowly onto rooftops and streets. People swept it aside, assuming the disturbance would pass. Life hesitated, but it did not stop. As the hours passed, the eruption intensified. Pumice stones, light but relentless, began falling in ever greater quantities. Roofs groaned under the growing weight. Streets filled with debris, making movement difficult. The air thickened with ash, reducing visibility and making every breath painful. Sunlight faded, turning afternoon into a gray twilight. Panic spread as the scale of the disaster became impossible to ignore. Some residents tried to flee. They gathered belongings, searched for family members, and moved toward the city gates. Others remained inside their homes, hoping stone walls would protect them. Decisions made during these hours would determine life or death. Yet information was scarce and fear clouded judgment. Escape routes were blocked by falling stones. The sea, once a possible refuge, had become rough and unstable due to seismic activity. As night fell, the sky turned completely dark. Pompeii was plunged into darkness, lit only by fires, torches, and flashes of volcanic lightning within the ash cloud overhead. The volcano continued to erupt, sending new waves of material into the sky. Ash fell heavier now, collapsing roofs throughout the city. Buildings that had stood for centuries gave way under the pressure. Cries echoed through streets filled with dust and darkness. Yet the deadliest phase of the eruption had not yet arrived. During the night, Mount Vesuvius released a series of pyroclastic surges, fast-moving avalanches of superheated gas, ash, and volcanic debris that raced down the slopes at speeds exceeding 100 kilometers per hour. Unlike falling ash, these flows offered no chance to escape. In the early hours of the next morning, one of these surges reached Pompeii. Within seconds, the city was engulfed. Temperatures rose above 250 degrees Celsius, hot enough to cause instant death by thermal shock. People died where they stood, sat, or slept. Muscles contracted violently. Bodies were frozen in their final positions, preserving gestures of fear, protection, and surrender. There was no struggle, no prolonged suffering, only sudden, absolute stillness. Entire neighborhoods were buried beneath meters of ash and debris. Homes, temples, shops, and streets vanished from sight. Pompeii did not burn, rot, or slowly decay. It was sealed. The eruption ended as abruptly as it had begun, leaving behind a transformed landscape where a city once stood. In the days and years that followed, Pompeii was never rebuilt. Survivors fled to nearby towns. Trade routes shifted. Memory faded. Over time, vegetation covered the hardened volcanic layers. Fields were planted over buried homes. The exact location of the city was forgotten. Pompeii passed from living history into silence. For nearly 17 centuries, the city remained hidden. Then, in the 18th century, workers digging the foundations of a new palace uncovered stone walls and ancient inscriptions. Further excavations revealed streets, columns, and buildings astonishingly preserved beneath the ground. Archaeologists soon realized they had discovered something unprecedented. Pompeii was not a ruin shaped by centuries of exposure. It was a city frozen in time. Unlike Rome or Athens, where continuous occupation erased layers of daily life, Pompeii had been sealed in a single moment. Everything remained where it had been left: objects, structures, and human traces untouched by later generations. As excavation continued, the scale of the discovery became clear. Entire neighborhoods emerged intact. Homes still contained furniture, tools, and decorative art. Kitchens held cookware and food remains. Taverns displayed menus painted on their walls. Even graffiti survived, messages scratched by ordinary citizens, revealing humor, politics, and personal rivalries rarely recorded in formal texts. Among the most haunting discoveries were the victims themselves. As bodies decomposed over centuries, they left hollow spaces within the ash. In the 19th century, archaeologists poured plaster into these voids, creating detailed casts of people at the moment of death. These figures showed faces marked by fear, arms raised in defense, parents shielding children. Statistics became individuals. Pompeii offered historians something no written source could provide: a complete snapshot of everyday Roman life. It revealed how people lived, worked, ate, worshipped, and found entertainment. Social divisions were visible in architecture. Wealthy homes featured frescoes and spacious courtyards, while the poor lived in cramped upper rooms. The city showed Rome not as empire, but as human experience. The tragedy that destroyed Pompeii also preserved it. The ash that killed its inhabitants protected the city from erosion, looting, and modernization. In death, Pompeii achieved a form of immortality. It became a message from the ancient world, sealed and delivered across time. Today, Pompeii stands as one of the most important archaeological sites on Earth. Its streets are silent, but they speak loudly. Visitors walk paths once filled with voices, markets, and laughter. Mount Vesuvius still rises in the distance, quiet but active, reminding us that the forces that shape history have not disappeared. Pompeii teaches us that history does not always fade slowly. Sometimes it stops. In a single day, an entire city was erased from the present and preserved for the future. Pompeii survived not because it was saved, but because it was buried. And in that burial, time itself was forced to stand still. If this journey moved you, explore our episode and playlist on Pompeii to walk deeper through the streets that time kept. Discover what archaeology and careful listening can teach us about lives interrupted and the fragile beauty of everyday moments.